It's TV dinner time. Kick your shoes off, get comfy. Today we're talking about a new show. We're talking about Ripley from 2024. It's a Netflix original. We're only talking about the first 4 episodes, so episodes 1 through 4. We'll have a second episode where we discuss 5 through 8. My math kind of got messed up for a second in my head.
Right.
but yeah, we'll get into it. And spoiler warning, since it's such a new show, we don't want to ruin it for anyone. So give everyone a spoiler warning before we get into it.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot to spoil in the last 2 episodes of the 3 and 4, basically for Ripley and stuff. But it's interesting because it's funny because I was we uploaded a Cinebite, which is us like reacting to trailers, and so we did a reaction to Ripley trailer, and someone commented saying that it's boring and long or slow.
The show.
And I get that, yeah, the show Ripley and stuff. And I get that with the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I think when you and I watched the trailer, we had that reaction of like, oh, this looks good. Like, I'm excited to check this out with the black and white and the high contrast and just how things were playing out in the trailer. But then to actually start the show, I'm guessing you're probably on the same boat. I expected a fast-paced show, like things happening as soon as you start it, and that's not the case. Like the first 2 episodes are a lot of build-up of like, okay, here's Tom Ripley. Okay, now he meets the shipyard owner, and he wants him to fly across the world to go find his son. You're kind of going through that of Ripley trying to befriend the son again because they were former friends or acquaintances. So you're watching that. And then 3 and 4 is when things start picking up.
Yeah, you kind of figure out it's like, all right, like I was still like by the end of the 3rd episode, I was still kind of confused as to like what he's doing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then the 4th episode, you kind of like you understand more of what he's doing. But yeah, the first 2 episodes, it's like a lot of like build up, showing as to who he is, and then I guess it's like nice exposition of like you can tell he's a con artist, basically. Mm-hmm. Like I was like, man, the guy goes through a lot of work to try to not work.
Yes. Like he would be a beast at working if he just put his mind to that, but he did everything but that. He wrote a letter like, hey, I need some more money, but I'm mooching off your son already. But don't tell him. Like, what are you doing, dude?
Puts a lot of work. And then eventually when he's trying to like change his passport, in the 4th episode,
when he's like writing multiple times,
he has the stamp and everything, and he's putting the photo. He makes sure that he has his signature just right, and yeah, there's a lot of work, and it's like, man, my stories will probably be all jumbled if I try to do this.
Well, even like going to the bank to get more money, like my heart would be beating so fast. Like, okay, did I get that signature just right? Do I look like this guy? He's a blonde, but I'm not a blonde. But I gave him my passport. Now they're making a call. Like, did they catch me? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then he gets all the money. And I was like, oh, I guess he knows what he's doing.
But with everything, like, I guess, like, my one thing is that, like, did you think that was the first person he killed?
No, it felt, it felt like this was like a norm for him. I feel like this is just one down the line of things he's done before.
Yeah, because I was trying to think of that. It was like, all right, like, because he kind of knows his story is kind of crumbling, right? Like, that's, he's pushed against the wall, basically pushed out into the middle of the ocean and forced to tell the truth, basically. But then I was like, man, is that the first time you think he like...
Well, even the first episode, they kind of show him dragging a body down some stairs. So
yeah,
we don't know if that's at the end of this season or like where that took place or when that takes place. So that's definitely
that yeah. So it's like one. So that's why I was like, all right, like, so the dude that he kills is not the guy at the beginning of the first episode being tracked. Who do you think that is?
I'm thinking
Marge.
No, it looked like a guy though. It looked like a larger body. Like Marge is a tall lady, but it looked like a larger body, and she didn't have stairs. It seemed like he was in like an a New York apartment.
Yeah, he's back in New York, right? That's kind of
Yeah.
what I got. And the person that kind of calls out to him, or like to like figure out what's going on in the beginning of that episode is speaking English, right?
Hmm.
So he's kind of like he's in Italy for most of these episodes, and he's
Yeah.
having to learn Italian and stuff. So yeah, it does seem like he's back in New York. I just wonder who that is. That the dude's dad?
That would be crazy. I could see him doing that though. Or they may throw us off and it might be somebody totally different that we haven't met yet. Oh, it may be so this is gonna lead into my next question. It may be Fred or Frank, whatever that person's name is.
Oh, the one that was kind of like understanding that he's a shady character.
Yeah.
The one that invited the other person
yeah.
to the like the skiing lodge and stuff or whatever.
Come over for the winter.
Could be. I guess so, right? That's a good option actually.
Is that because the character's name is like Fred, right?
I think so.
Is the person an actress?
I think it yeah, I think that's like a non-gendered person.
Okay.
Yeah, and so a non-binary person, and so yeah, because it's like you're almost kind of like a little bit. You kind of get confused where it's like, oh, it's and yeah, it's especially at that time too, the time period that they're like trying to emulate in this.
That's what threw me off because I'm like, if this took place now, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's commonplace.
Yeah,
but back then, yeah, I didn't understand that aspect of it.
In terms of their interaction, like I wrote down, like, do you think shady people recognize other shady people?
Yeah, like serial killers know serial killers.
Yeah,
like
right.
Say it all the time, like another one can understand. Like, oh yeah, you're one of me.
Yeah, so it's like, how does he get away with all that? Where it's like, yeah, man, like, it kind of goes to his plan, where it's like, oh, Fred's like a weird person.
Yeah,
like I don't think you should talk to them anymore. So, so you try to push him out and everything.
like, get away.
Yeah, so and that was interesting to think about, where it's like, oh, that could be too, and it's like, and all these people come from wealth, so they're able to move and be mobile. Like you see that they go to this country for a different kind of like holiday.
Yeah.
Right? They go see this place and stuff, and so it'd be interesting to see who be that person that is being dragged down the stairs at the beginning of the first episode.
I'm just wondering how, because now at episode 4, things are starting to pick up. So I'm wondering how the show is actually going to end.
I'm assuming Marge, who is Dakota Fanning, is we see it in the trailer a little bit, where it's like they start to investigate some things themselves and stuff. But I wonder if it keeps them in, because they're also from New York, right? Is that what I?
Yeah,
or like,
because the shipyard that the father owns is in New York.
Yeah, so
I don't know if Marge is, but I know at least Robert or whatever.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that like maybe their investigation leads them back to New York, and why also too could be like, we know Tom's idea is to go back to New York anyways, because he's writing in context of like, oh, I'm gonna go back to New York in the other dudes. I forget what the other guy's name is.
Robert Greenleaf.
I think so. Okay.
Yeah.
But he's kind of like trying to like still pretend that he's alive. I thought he was gonna just assume his person,
his identity.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna try to show up to Marge and be like, "I'm your like, I got rid of Tom."
It hasn't happened. Like the fact that he's writing her letters, I'm surprised he hasn't just popped up and be like, "Hey, it's me." Like, what are you talking about?
Right. So it's like, I wonder how deep this scam can go, where it's like this is like a big scam, and he's just trying to like. But then, what's his end game? Like to steal a bunch of money from the dad or the family, and then like so he's able to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that it will take him a long time to figure that out, and then he can probably withdraw all the money and just kind of like disappear.
Mm-hmm. He's already bouncing from country to country.
Right. So it's like, what is his end game? Like, what's the? I guess like that's the whole thing of like these people where it's like their end game is really just to play the game more,
Yeah,
and
they get the
so
thrill from that.
right.
We'll have to wait and see. We got 4 more episodes.
Yeah, I'm interested. I guess our typical question, or my typical question to you, is like, who do you recommend this watching the first 4 episodes of Ripley? Who do you recommend
Yeah,
this to?
I've already recommended it to a friend, and she started watching it, and she's further in the show than we are. She's already on episode 6. So I think with the pacing, it's kind of tough. I don't know if everyone has that attention span to watch a 45 minute to an hour long episode, all black and white with some
Hmm.
subtitles. Um, I think you and I both enjoy it. It did take some time for the show to build, but I think if someone can get past that and kind of look at the show as like an art piece, because a lot of the shots are beautiful,
Yeah. Right.
I think they would enjoy it. So yeah, I think anybody could watch it. It may be tough to kind of get through, but that's a lot of shows. A lot of shows it takes a couple episodes for you to like be fully invested. So if you're willing to put an hour or two into a show before you're like, oh yeah, I'm locked in, I think this could be for anyone.
Yeah. I, it's funny, like Glass Onion and what was that other one? The
Knives
first,
Out,
yeah, Knives Out,
yeah,
where it's not so energetic as Knives Out and Glass
yeah,
Onion and everything. But it still has that same mystery where like you're
yeah,
almost kind of like trying to like piece the story together in your head as you're watching it. So it's not as energetic as like those types of movies, but it still has that kind of detective feel. And I think it matches the tone, like you said. Like every shot of this is almost like a piece of art that is relevant to the story at that moment too, where it's
yeah.
like the underwater shots, the kind of shots that go from like above the sea line to below it.
That's
Yeah, that was
that's
cool.
one thing. Like as I was watching it, so I've had this idea in my head for a while now that someone, I don't know if it's gonna be me or whoever, somebody can take this idea, just give me some credit for it. A black and white uh, documentary about the ocean. So like seeing whales and sharks and undersea in all black and white with like high contrast. I would love that. And like watching those couple of scenes when they do that, I was like, yeah, this is my vision. This would be crazy to see an hour long
And it'll
worth of
probably make
this.
the ocean even scarier.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. But it'd also be like a majestic scary. Like, oh, it's scary, but it's pretty.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny, like in terms of recommending this, I think I would recommend this to my mom. And my mom is an easy sell for like mystery, and she likes watching all those like Datelines, but she likes true kind of like true stories. But this one
Mm,
I think will have that kind of suspense and trying to like piece together things that she'll enjoy. But it's hard to sell on some people that like, yeah, it's going to be kind of like a rough, not like a
yeah.
rough go, because
Just
like,
slow.
yeah, the way it looks is
It's
interesting enough to
beautiful.
carry you
Yeah.
through the first 2 episodes and
The
stuff.
aerial shots too. We didn't even touch on that. Aerial
Yeah,
shots are
I
beautiful
I
though.
I also wrote down like the shots in the bus when he's like
Yeah.
freaking out and everything that's gonna fall over the edge. Those
I
shots
was
in the
freaking
bus is
out. I
cool.
was like, yeah, I'm good. Keep that bus over here, sir. Like, I'm good.
Yeah, because it's like it almost kind of like like pieces together that Italy is full of artwork.
Hmm.
Italy itself is an art piece itself, and then this show is showing itself as an art piece with like the way it like portrays itself and everything. Like black and white for an entire episodic show is kind of like a bold move and everything.
Yeah. Especially
So
now. Yeah.
yeah, so Patty was like when we started watching it, she was like, "Is there going to be color in this? Is it going to be all black and white?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"I don't know, maybe."
I think it
So
would
it's
take
interesting.
away though. I think if they even gave us a glimpse of color, it would take away from it.
I
I think
think
it
so.
needs to be consistent, in which I'm
Yeah.
guessing it is. so far it has been. So I think it's going to stay consistent. But
yeah. And I'm very interested in what we see for the next 4 episodes and stuff, and
yeah,
we'll be back to kind of talk about if whether or not that is Fred being dragged down the stairs or the dad, and whether or not he kills Marge. I don't know. I think
I think
Marge
she's
gets
on
too
the hit
close,
list
and
for
yeah,
sure.
I think he's gonna have to
She's
and everything
for sure on the hit list. He's already watching her from afar. Like she's on the hit list for sure.
Yeah, so I think that's a big possibility, but
Yeah.
how much of the story does she figure out before he has to kill her?
He definitely has some loose ends out there, so we'll see.
Yeah, so let us know if you've seen the first 4 episodes of Ripley. There's 8 episodes for this entire show. It's brand new on Netflix. Let us know in the comments if you liked it, disliked it, and follow and like and subscribe to Saturday Night Popcorn for more TV dinners like these.